Hello and welcome to the Sales Nexus email marketing training. My name is Craig Klein and I'll be conducting the training today. The best way to get in touch with us is, in case you have additional questions, is to email support@salesnexus.com, or you can call us at 713-862-0001, and support is extension 2. Or you can go to our website, salesnexus.com. You can read all about the team at our About Us page, or click on Help at the top of the main web page, and there you'll find all of our support resources. So today we're going to cover email marketing. We're going to talk about some resources that will be helpful for you in thinking about sort of your campaign strategy and the content of your emails. We're going to talk just a little bit about the basics of email marketing and what makes an effective or compelling email, and blocking and tackling, like just what is an open and a click and how do you measure those things. Then we're going to get into creating an actual campaign, designing and creating your email templates, and then you'll be off and running. And we'll go through this step by step, so you'll know how, by the end of this session, to begin creating your own effective email marketing campaigns. So first of all, a couple of resources that you may want to take a look at just to start thinking about the strategy of your campaign. This is kind of the long URL here, salesnexus.com/blog/email marketing sales teams best practices. You can just Google that, Sales Nexus email marketing for sales teams or something like that, and that'll pull up that blog post. It's a short little ebook that we put together for folks that are putting together email campaigns to drive leads and engagement with salespeople. So I definitely recommend you take a look at that. And also salesnexus.com/starter-kit. So that's a 3-video series, 3 really short videos, or 3 or 4 minutes each, that really show you how to create an email that's really going to get engagement from hot leads. So again, if you're creating email campaigns to generate conversations for your sales team, I definitely recommend you take a look at those videos. Okay, and most important, when you have questions, you're in the middle of creating your email template or your email campaign, or sending it for the first time and you're just not sure about some things, and you're logged on to Sales Nexus, go to the X menu in the upper left corner, and on that menu you'll see Help Me Now, and that will start a chat with our support team. And those guys are awesome. They're super fast. You won't be waiting for minutes. You'll hear from them in seconds. And in just a minute or two, you'll have answers to your questions. So I highly recommend you take advantage of that. Or you can call us and use option 2 to be connected with a support technician. All right, so what makes a compelling email? Well, I think the most important thing is to first think about, how do people read email, right? And the way you read your email is no different than the way your customers will read the emails that you send them. They're very busy. They got a lot going on. They're getting a lot of emails, and they're trying to sift through them as best they can to find the things that are important and ignore the things that are not. So your challenge is to stand out in that melee and not be ignored, right? That's why the subject line is so important. And also pictures, putting in pictures and headlines that really grab people's attention without causing them to read a lot is really important. Really, the old saying, brevity is the soul of wit, is definitely true with email marketing. So let me just show you what I mean here. Let's say this is my inbox, right? So I've got all these emails, it's first thing in the morning, I'm having my coffee, and I got all these emails stacked up that I need to go through, right? Well, the way studies have shown that the way most people do this is they first look at the from column here to look for people they recognize, right? So I know Joel, he's on our support team, so I might want to take a look at that email, right? Or Marty's a vendor that I know and I'm having some conversations with, so I may want to respond to that. But I'm going to scan through it and skip over a lot of stuff where I don't recognize the sender. And since we're talking about marketing emails, odds are your customers won't recognize you as the sender. They won't recognize your name. Let's assume that's the case. Which means then, after I've gone through all the emails where I recognize the sender, now I'm going to go over to the subject line column and I'm going to look at subject lines. And there's going to be some where, that's an invoice. That's not for me. That's for the billing department. I'm not even going to look at that, right? I might go over here and say delete or file it under billing or something like that. I may not even open that email and look at it, right? And then the ones where the subject line gets my attention, I'm going to read those, right? Oh, the check cleared. I want to know about that. So I might click into that and take a look at it, right? Or email campaign today. Okay, that gets my attention for some reason. So I'm going to click into that and read that email, right? The point is, if your subject line does not get their attention, it does not matter what is in the email. So that's the number one mistake that I see people making, is they spend a tremendous amount of time writing and designing really great looking emails, but they don't put any thought into the subject line. And if your subject line doesn't work, it doesn't matter what's in the email. Because here's what you can expect. Your open rate, meaning the number of people that click and actually view what's in the email. So the subject line got their attention and they're looking at your email now. That's going to typically be about 10 to 20%. 10 to 20% of the people you send to will even look at your email. That's the industry benchmark. Your click rate, meaning the people that have opened it, they've looked at what's in it, they've read it enough to find the calls to action or the links in your email, and they've clicked at least one of those links. Those are the clickers, and so your click rate is only going to be 1 to 2% of the overall list that you sent to. So just to make sure that's clear, if you send to 1,000 people, you can expect to have 100 to 200 of those people actually look at your email. And you can expect 10 to 20 of them to actually click on the link in your email to do whatever it is that you're asking them to do. So what that tells you is, number one, you have to have a pretty big list to do any serious damage in your overall marketing and sales process. And so you want to work on building up your list aggressively. I highly recommend that you take a look at our partner, leadferret.com, as a way to do that. As a Sales Nexus subscriber, you have access to free contacts and email addresses through leadferret.com. And there are some videos on our site about how to do that. But you want to build up your list as big as you can. You want to send frequently. And again, you want to make sure that your subject line is getting people's attention. And then our system will give you the data that you need to know what's working and what's not. So let's dive into how we do that. So in Sales Nexus, when you're logged on to the system, you go up here to campaigns and you say view campaigns, and that shows you a list of all of your campaigns. Now I can sort by when it started or when was the last time I added people to the campaign, or just by the number of emails sent. And so here I have all the emails, or I'm sorry, all the campaigns that I have sent a lot of emails through, right? So I'm going to click view over here to see the stats or the analytics for that campaign. And you can see out of 379 people, 166 have opened it, right? That's really good. Only 7 clicks though. That's not so good. So let's kind of dig into why that is. But before we do that, let's also explain. We talked about what the opens and the clicks mean. Opt-outs means that's somebody that received your email and they click the link at the bottom that says, I'd like to unsubscribe from this email. Don't send me anymore. So they've asked you not to send them any more emails. So you want to keep an eye on that. You don't want that to be very high. Typically, you don't want it to be higher than your click rate. So that we need to look at this email and see why that's happening. Bounces means that's people whose address is wrong. You tried to send them an email and their mail server said, no, I don't recognize that address. Don't send to that anymore. So you've got a bad email address. Now, I can drill into this data in a couple of different ways while I'm here. Over here, I can choose to see my list of bounces. So here are the emails, or I'm sorry, the people whose email address is bad. So if I wanted to take that list of people and maybe call them back or send them something in the mail and ask them for an updated email address, I could do that. I just go here and select that list, and now I can do something else with that. Or I could see the people that opted out, see who those folks are. Or look at the people that clicked. Now, of course, those are your hot leads, right? These are the people that not only the subject line got their attention, they read your email, and they clicked the link. They're the most, that's the most strong indication of interest, right? While we're talking about that, let's talk about opens, because I think a lot of people misunderstand what an open is. So you can see here, there's a lot of folks that opened our email, but did not click on the link within it, right? That's because the email obviously wasn't very compelling. Otherwise, we'd have had a higher click rate. But also, you need to understand that the way that opens are measured is that our system automatically embeds a little image in your email template. And when the recipient views it in their mail program, like Gmail or Outlook or whatever, it displays that image, and our server knows that that individual is being shown that image, and that's how we measure an open. That's how all email marketing systems do it. However, as you probably know, a lot of email marketing, or I'm sorry, email clients like Outlook and Gmail, by default will block images. You know, you've seen that when you've opened an image and it says, you know, it asks you, do you want to display images? Well, if the user never turns that blocking off, well, then they're never going to register an open because they never see those images, right? On the same token, some users have their email system like Outlook set up to show them emails in preview mode and to show images always, which means even though they don't actually read your email, just because it was previewed on their screen, our system thinks they looked at it, right? So the opens are not that accurate, and you definitely do not want to use them as some kind of a buying signal. Just because somebody opened your email does not mean they want to call from your salespeople. That's probably the simplest way to say it. A lot of times all it means is your subject line got their attention. But a click is different. When a click is a click, it's much more precise and accurate. There's not a lot of false positives or anything like that. And so you also have to think about it from the recipient's point of view. Again, they're very busy. They've gone through their inbox. They've scanned and found the people they recognized, responded to those emails. Now they're scanning the subject lines and looking for things that get their attention or sound interesting to them. And they've chosen yours, and now they've read that email, and now they've clicked to go to your website or watch your video or download your PDF or whatever it is. That's a pretty strong signal. So those are the ones that you want to treat like leads. Now, also, while we're here in View Campaign, I can go here to Show. Right now we're on Show Opens Clicks Grids. But I can also choose subject, or I'm sorry, show template and subject performance. And here it'll break down the whole campaign and show you open and click rates for the whole campaign. And in this campaign, I actually have multiple emails, right? And then I can click plus and see what the subject line was. And that tells me a lot, right? That's one of the highest open rates of all of these emails. So lead follow-up, easy tips, got a high open rate, and actionable sales dashboards got a high open rate. So those are good subject lines. My audience responds well to those subject lines. That tells me something about emails I should create in the future, right? Now let's look down here at one where we have a very low open rate. Supercharged selling. That did not work. We only got a 2% open rate. That's not good. So we need to work on that subject line. We're going to get into how to create the campaigns now. And one of the things that you can do is go and just edit this existing campaign, change the subject line for this email, and send it to a new list of people, and come back to the same view, and you'll see both subject lines compared. So you can kind of A/B test your subject lines and see what works and what doesn't. Okay, so let's create a campaign. Go up here to campaigns, create campaign. I'll give my campaign a name. And let's say this is our new lead response campaign. So this is what we want to do anytime we get a new lead. That could be, in your case, leads that come in from your website. Sales Nexus allows you to capture those leads directly from your website. And this campaign could be automatically triggered for those new leads. It could be a list of leads that you get from a trade show, or maybe it's just leads that your salespeople are generating on their own, one at a time, and we want to make sure that they turn this campaign on for all those new leads. That's up to you. Generally, you want to leave subscription set to default. You can manage different opt-in lists or subscription lists in our system, but we're not going to get distracted with that. If you need to do that, contact support and they can answer any questions you have about that. I'm just going to add an email, my first email, to the campaign. And so here I can choose who that email will be sent from. So these are all of the users in your Sales Nexus subscription. So, you know, if you only have you as a subscriber, then you'll only have yourself and then these other two options. Or you might want to, you know, in a larger company, there might be certain emails that you want to come from the CEO or whoever it is on your team that's recognized as sort of the thought leader in your industry. Choosing Contacts Record Manager says, I want every email to be sent from the salesperson that owns that account. So the record manager is the owner of any individual customer in the database, and so our system will figure out who to send each email from, and that's a real handy feature. Current user means I'm the user logged on to Sales Nexus right now, sending the campaign to a whole list of people, so I'm going to be the from. So you can choose that as you see fit. I'm going to choose Current Contacts Record Manager, and here I set the sequence. So 0 days means the day that it's scheduled for, the starting day of the campaign. So we'll just leave that for now. Here I can choose notifications. So open notifications means notify me if somebody opens my email. That's great if you're sending one email to one customer and you really want to know when they've gotten it. That's a great way to do that. I do not recommend using open notifications when you're sending to a very large list. Just like we talked about before, it's not really a good indication of some sales interest, and you're going to end up with all these notifications from people that, you know, really we're not even sure actually saw your email. You know. Now, click notification, that I highly recommend. because that's a stronger indication of some kind of interest or a buying signal. The difference here between enable click notification, that means you're going to get a task in Sales Nexus when somebody clicks your email. In real time, right away, you'll see a task on your task list. Enable email click notification. That means you're going to get an email that says, hey, Bob just clicked on your email. Here's his phone number. Give him a call. So that can be really powerful if you have outside salespeople that are not sitting at their desk logged on to Sales Nexus all day. They're going to know when their customers are engaging with emails and can respond to those. And you can choose both if you want. Here you can choose to have the system make sure not to send emails on the weekend if you want. So you might create some ongoing drip campaign that spread out over several weeks, and it's hard to figure out when the weekends are going to fall in that sequence. So the system will just automatically offset everything by 2 days to miss the weekends. And then I put in my subject line. So again, this is the key, really, just as important as what is in the email itself. So I might put something like discounts on new parts through Sunday. That's not going to be a good subject line. Why do you think that is? It's because we get those kind of emails from everybody every day, right? So you're just not standing out. What I recommend is, first of all, go and watch that video series I mentioned earlier, the Starter Kit video series. Just Google Sales Nexus Starter Kit. And it will really walk you through a systematic way to come up with good subject lines. But you really need to think about your customer and what's going on in their mind. What parts are you selling them? Why do they need them? What's the problem that they have that makes them need those parts, right? Talk about that. So if it's truck maintenance, right? Under the gun to complete fleet maintenance. Now, that's going to be much more effective. And then in the email, you can talk about the discounts available, right? Because now you're speaking to the customer and what's on their mind. They're not thinking of, I need to find somebody that's offering discounts on truck parts. What they woke up thinking about is, man, I got to get all that work done on all those trucks and get the fleet ready for Monday. So work on your subject lines, put a little thought into that, brainstorm on that. And then here we add the template in. So I'm just going to type in a few letters and it'll show me any matching template names. I select my template. And if I want to, I can go take a look at it by clicking View Template here, or I can go create a new one if I don't have any yet. And then save it. And now that's the first event in my campaign. And maybe that's all you want. You just want to send one email to a list of people. Fine, we're done at this point. We can save it. Or we can add more. So maybe I want to send another email 3 days later, and I want to set the same notifications. Let's see, cut fleet maintenance costs. So again, if I'm the manager of a fleet of vehicles, then the cost of maintaining that fleet is a big part of my job, managing that cost. So we want to appeal to that need, right? And here I'm just going to select another template and add that to my campaign. And I can keep going. There's no limit to the number of emails in my campaign. If I am going through the process and I realize I made a mistake, like I forgot to change the user on this one, I can just go back here to edit and go back and change that. save it, and now that's been fixed, right? Or I can delete any one of these events if I decide to shorten it or whatever. Now, I can also add other types of events. So maybe what I want to do is take this list of leads that I have, warm them up with a couple of emails, and then have my salespeople call them. So I can say call and add that. And then here I'll put in, you know, an explanation of what the call is about. Fleet maintenance lead. And I'll say that's going to happen on 5 days out. And again, I want to choose Contacts Record Manager. I could have the salesperson get an alarm to make sure they really see that if you want. I can also choose to skip weekends and things like that. And now that's been added in. And again, I can keep going, add more emails, add to-dos, meetings, whatever. Again, there's no limit on how many of these tasks can be in a campaign or how much time it can stretch over. Let's go ahead and save it. And don't worry, in a minute we're going to look at how to create the email templates themselves. So that's been saved. Now it's ready to use. So we can go in and look up any list of contacts within the system. You know, so let's see, I'm going to look up all my clients in my database. Maybe I have, you know, a lot of clients that we've sold trucks to, but now we're trying to sell them maintenance services, right? So I did my search, and I say make this my lookup. That's taking that list and making that my working list in memory in Sales Nexus. And I go up here to campaigns, and I say add to campaign, and I choose my campaign by typing in the name, and there's that new lead response. And I can schedule it. Maybe I want to send it next Tuesday, first thing in the morning. And you see right here, it says Lookup 388. So that's the list of clients that I looked up. So when I say add to campaign, it's going to apply all of these tasks to every one of those leads, all 388 of those people. And it's set it and forget it. I could literally log off and go on vacation for a week or two, and all these emails are going out, and all my salespeople are getting these calls showing up on their task list. So you click Add to Campaign and say yes, and that's it. You're done. The emails start going out, and then you know you give it 30 minutes or so, and then you can go to View Campaigns and look up the campaign and see. You'll see the number of emails sent will start to go up, and you'll start to see some, you know, opens and clicks and things like that. But it takes about 30 minutes for that data to start to show up. So if you don't see it instantly, don't worry. So that's how to create a campaign and send it out. So the first thing you want to do when you're creating your email templates is go and complete your company profile. You go to the X menu, then System Settings, then Company Profile. And here you'll upload your logo, and the system will automatically present you with a palette of colors that match your logo and look good with it. And then you can select the colors to serve as the border in your email template. So if I want to change that bottom section, make it stand out a little more, I just click around and find what works, you know, what looks good. Also, you put in your social links and choose which ones you want to include by checking them here, and then those social icons will automatically appear in the header of your emails. And then you save that, and then from now on, whenever you go to Campaigns and then Create Email Template, you can see all of my different template layouts are already pre-customized for me. So that really makes life a lot easier. So if I'm creating a simple sales follow-up, maybe I'll call it, you know, for a new lead. then I may just want a simple text email, right? So I click that one. And now all I've got to do is put my text in there. I don't have to worry about all the, graphics and things like that. That's done for me already. So I just click here in the text area, and this little text box comes up. I can remove that placeholder. And here, where you see contact merge, this is where I select my mail merge fields. So I'm just going to select the first name field, and then comma, and then thanks for taking the time to talk via phone today. I'm looking forward to meeting you, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a link to the video we discussed. And so you might want to put a link to whatever it is you want your customer to see as a follow-up to an initial sales conversation, right? So now that's linked. And then I'll hit enter one more time. And now what I want to do is put my signature in there. And so I can mail merge that. And what that does is it allows everybody on my team to use the same template, but it'll be personalized for the customer, but also the individual salesperson or user in Sales Nexus. So here, to put signature information, I select from my info mail merge fields, not contact merge fields. So I'll go and I'll find the contact field. So that's going to be the full name, not the first name. And then I'll hit enter, and maybe I want to put the phone number. Here we go. I generally don't put the email because when they get the email, they're going to have that. But you may want to. You may want to put the title, or in some businesses there might be, license numbers and things like that that you want to include in your email signature. All of that can be done. That's just a matter of putting them in a field in Sales Nexus and adding them to your templates like this. And then here also I probably want to select all this and left justify. Hit apply to text, and that's it. We're good to go, right? Now in this case, we got a lot of white space here. I might want to take some of that out. You can see over here on the right you have options. So here's my width and my height. So maybe I want to take this down to 250 pixels high and hit submit. And you can see now it's kind of shrunk it down a little bit. I can shrink it a little more possibly. You can see here's where you would choose the alignment. You might want to make the background a different color. You could add a border or change the border settings. Here under advanced settings, you can add padding and things like that. So the padding, I might add, let's try it a little more than I normally would just so you can see the result. 10 pixels of padding. You can see kind of how it kind of indented it off of the exact edge of that cell. And that's what padding does, just kind of gets it off the edge of any cell. Also you can create your border radius. You see how you get the curve on some of these borders? The border radius will affect the extremity of that curve, for lack of a better way to say it. But you can see that's really all there is to it. Lots of things we could play with here, but just keeping it simple. You've already got your logo in there. It's automatically been linked to your website. You've got your social icons. Those are automatically linked to the URLs that you put in the company profile. You've got your text and your link here. So when somebody gets this email and they click that link and you have click notifications turned on in your campaign, that's what you'll know about. You'll know when they're watching that video. So here, what you want to do next is preview it, right? So you click send preview email and send it to yourself. and now it's going to show up in your inbox, and you can take a look at it and see what it's going to look like when your customers receive it, right? Some other options you have over here if you just want to rename it. Maybe you want to take this template and copy it and just change the text so that you're creating some series of sales emails that you want to look consistent with just different text or something like that. You can delete it, change the background color. Those are all those options. Now, let's do something a little more advanced. Let's go back and create a new template. So I'm going to call this my product feature template, and I'm going to select this design where we have text on one side and it says text on the other, but I'm going to replace that and make it an image. So we're starting with the same basic template with my logo and social icons and so on. I can put my text in over here on the left. Again, I'll mail merge in the first name field. And you might want to mail merge in, perhaps their company name. You can mail merge in any field in your database, your custom fields or our standard fields. I'm not doing a very good job of writing an email. I'm sure you'll do better of writing your email. I'm trying to be generic here. Now I'm just going to sign off. Put my phone number. And apply the text. And then here, it's set up to put text in, but I don't want to put text. I want to put an image there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and say, clear the contents. So now I have a blank cell, and now I can set it for an image. So I clicked on the image icon. Now it's giving me the tools to upload my image. So let's see. Let's try to find an image of a product. There we go. So I can double click that, grab that image. You can also upload a new image there if you need to. Here you can set the size of the image. Generally you want to make sure that fixed aspect ratio is checked. If you don't, it could skew the image and distort it, make it look funny. You might want to choose fit to cell, which will sort of maximize it to fill out the cell. The alternate text means if somebody is blocking images in their Outlook or Gmail and they're not seeing your image, then the system will show text instead. So you might want to put model XJ500. And then here you can link it to maybe the product page on your site for that particular product. And you have the other options you would expect. Maybe I want to center it. And I can put a border around it and things like that we looked at before. I'm going to say submit, and wow, that is way too big, right? So let's make it smaller. Let's say we want it to be maybe 250 pixels wide. That's a lot better, right? So I just changed it here. I only have to change one of the numbers, and as long as that's checked, it changes the other dimension in proportion to that. And then I hit submit, and that change takes effect. So pretty easy. Now, a couple other things I want to make sure you know about. For instance, you can add more cells. So maybe you want to have not just text and an image, but you want to have another image below this, and maybe an image here, an image here, and an image there. You'll see the little plus signs next to any cell. Whenever you select a cell, you see plus signs all around it, right? So I'll select this cell. Whoops. There we go. And then I'll hit plus. And you see what happened there? It created another cell for me down here where I can go and add a new image. Okay, so you can add additional columns and cells by hitting the plus signs. You can take them back out by hitting delete column. You can just sort of blank a cell by hitting clear contents. And once you have your email ready to go, you want to make sure and preview it by sending it to yourself. And you're done. The system automatically saves every change you make, so you don't have to worry about forgetting to save it. And that's it. Now it's ready to go and add to a campaign. So you go back into Create Campaign, and you can look up that product feature template name to add into your campaign. Okay, we talked briefly earlier about capturing leads automatically. So Sales Nexus can connect to your website and automatically capture any form submission. So if somebody comes to your site and fills out the Contact Us form or the request for quote or any kind of new lead form on your site, that information can automatically go into Sales Nexus, and it can automatically trigger one of these campaigns that you've created in Sales Nexus. So automatically new leads could be getting emails from you, an ongoing series of emails, and your sales team could be alerted about the lead to make contact and make a call. And we do have some new exciting automation features that will be coming out here in late March or early April that will allow you to do even more exciting stuff with new leads coming into your database and automating campaigns. Okay, so first of all, if you need more training, we do live public training Monday through Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So just go to salesnexus.com/support and you'll see the training link, and you can join one of those sessions at any time. It's a live screen share. You can ask your own questions, and it's a great way to get help and get answers to your questions. We do also offer additional service. We can help you with the campaign strategy, writing the subject lines, designing the emails, and managing and analyzing the analytics and optimizing your campaigns over time. Also, just want to make sure that you know that we do offer a reward for referrals. We love to get referrals from happy customers. So when you refer a friend, you earn a $25 Amazon gift card for every user that signs up. So if you refer a company that signs up 10 users, then you're going to get $250 in Amazon cash to spend. So be sure and let us know if you know anybody that might be a great Sales Nexus customer. All right, well, that's our email marketing training session, and we hope that you're successful with your email marketing. And of course, if there's any way at all that we can help you, just let us know. Thank you.